any of us that have been working out in business over the last 12 months would pretty much recognise it's been a pretty crazy year. There's a lot of things that have happened. In many cases, were completely unpredictable. They've come at us completely out of the blue, but they're very, very significant. And they're not going to go away in 2 months. They're not going to go away in 6 months. They're going to be here for months or even years to come. And I don't think there are any kind of business discussions that are happening right now in 2009 that can really be taking place without some regard to these kind of things that we've seen happening. You probably all agree that the biggest impacts were kind of in the financial services sector, and particularly the last one, the bailout of the financial services industry. It's ongoing. Who knows if it was predictable, but it's certainly going to be felt in terms of its impact for a long time to come. But with all of these changes going on right now, our customers are going to adapt, they're going to survive, and we as businesses need to do exactly the same thing. We need to move on and adapt to these changing conditions. Great quote from Einstein about having to do things differently in a changing world. You know, madness is continuing to do the same thing, hoping for a different outcome. We have to change, we have to adapt to all of these global pressures that we're seeing and move on. I mean, in conversations with our customers, there are kind of several themes emerging, consistent themes. So I think it was interesting, we put this slide last year when we did this conference, and it said, potential of a recession takes grip in Europe. Now, full-blown recession impacting Europe pretty much everywhere. But what are we seeing? A lot of organizations are focusing back on basics. They're moving away from some of the big public brand building, less provable activities than they've been doing before. There's very much a pressure on organizations to deliver a lot more return on investment from marketing. And we are seeing a drive away from the kind of the classic above-the-line marketing spend, and more of a retrenchment on building customer value, customer loyalty into the future. Some very high visibility casualties from this move away from above the line. And I've just picked some UK examples because they're easy, but I'm sure you'll probably have similar examples in the UK marketplace. So within the Formula One world, which is obviously kicking off again now, Honda have withdrawn sponsorship. Wow, that's quite a major departure for a car manufacturer to move away from Formula One, but other organisations have done the same thing as well. ING, Martini, also moved out of this kind of space. ITV, Britain's premier commercial station, massive job loss programme actually underway because their advertising revenues have fallen by 17% over the previous year. So organisations pulling money out of this kind of big, visible, above-the-line activity. And one of the biggest kind of changes, so AIG pulling out of sponsorship of Manchester United. So if any of the guys here are really interested, space is available. They're up for promotional activity. But above the line still has its place. I think a lot of consumers have lost trust in many organisations over the last 6 to 12 months. But above the line still has the power to reassure, to prove that your organisation is still strong, can still afford to invest, and can reassure customers that you're going to be around for a while to come. Nationwide, as a building society in the UK, they're making a point here of being boring. We're solid, stable, dependable. They have big billboard ads out in the UK, and it says, exciting, aren't we, underneath. They're making a virtue out of being stable and not taking undue risks, as a lot of organisations have in the past. But whereas above the line is under pressure, I think what you as organisations are going to have to do more and more is prove the value of this investment in the above the line world. Understanding what's working, understanding what impact it's having on your sales, on your customers, and where things are not working, understanding that and changing, but where they are working, maybe doing more.